Day 9, January 6, 2026, the signaling day, a quarter pound of brisket. This is the video I've been building toward. January 6, 2026, the day I broke my 8-day dry fast, the day I discovered why a quarter pound of brisket is the perfect signal for a fasting-focused life. The numbers: weight 209.2 pounds, up 6.4 pounds from yesterday's 202.8, waist 42.5 inches, up 1 inch from yesterday's 41.5, energy 9 out of 10, excellent, mood 8 out of 10, positive. Now, before you react to those numbers going up, let me explain exactly what happened and why this is completely expected and perfectly fine. I broke my fast at midnight, transitioning from January 5th to January 6th. The first thing that touched my lips after 192 hours of nothing, a glass of water with baking soda. Why baking soda? After 8 days of fasting, my stomach was highly acidic. The baking soda alkalizes the environment, preparing it to receive food again. I sipped it slowly, giving my body time to adjust. Then, coconut water, small sips over time, natural electrolytes, gentle rehydration, nothing aggressive, nothing that would shock a system that had been in complete rest. I wrote in my journal, broke my fast at midnight today and feel relieved to finally consume some stuff. Relieved is the right word, not desperate, not ravenous, relieved. The fast was complete, the mission accomplished. Now it was time for the careful transition. Let me tell you about the weight gain. I went from 202.8 to 209.2, a gain of 6.4 pounds in one day. This is not fat gain. Let me be absolutely clear about that. When you refeed after an extended dry fast, several things happen. You rehydrate. Water has weight. Your body was operating on minimal fluid levels. Glycogen begins to replenish. And glycogen binds water, 3 to 4 grams of water per gram of glycogen. Food has weight. Even a small amount of food adds to your scale weight. Gut contents return. After 8 days of empty intestines, anything you eat adds volume. The 6.4 pounds I gained was almost entirely water, glycogen-bound water, and gut contents. The fat I burned during the fast, still gone. The inches I lost, mostly still gone, only 1 inch returned. This is why I focus more on waist measurements than scale weight. The waist tells the truth about fat. The scale is influenced by too many variables. Now let me tell you about the brisket. I had a quarter pound of lean brisket from Abbey's Texas BBQ for my evening meal. I want you to understand how significant this meal was, not because it was large, but because it was precisely calibrated. A quarter pound, that's 4 ounces, about 113 grams, roughly 25-30 grams of protein. No sauce, no sides, no bread, no extras, just lean, protein-dense brisket. This is what I call signaling, as opposed to refeeding. Let me explain the signaling concept. Traditional refeeding after a fast focuses on replenishment, eat a lot, restore calories, fill up. Signaling is different. Signaling focuses on information delivery. After 8 days of fasting, my body was in a specific metabolic state, burning fat, preserving what muscle it could, operating on scarcity assumptions. The quarter pound of brisket sent a clear message: preserve muscle. Here's protein. Structure matters. Scarcity continues. This isn't abundance. Keep burning fat. Digestion is briefly needed. Process this and prepare to fast again. Signaling maintains momentum. Refeeding breaks it. Something remarkable happened that proves the signaling concept works. After 8 days of not eating, my stomach had shrunk. I couldn't eat as much as I used to in one sitting when I wasn't fasting. I wrote, a quarter pound did it for me. Since I had been fasting for 8 days, my stomach had shrunk a bit and I couldn't eat as much as I used to in one sitting. This is exactly right. The quarter pound was enough. I wasn't hungry for more. I didn't want more. My body received the signal and said, we're good. In my old eating pattern, a quarter pound of brisket would have been an appetizer. I would have followed it with sides, drinks, dessert, snacks later. The eating would have continued for hours. On January 6th, after the fast, a quarter pound was complete, satisfying, final. Let me describe how I felt after the brisket. I wrote, I feel wonderful right now, still a few hours away from officially starting my next 5-day dry fast, but I don't feel like eating. Read that again. I had just broken an 8-day fast. I had eaten a quarter pound of brisket, and I didn't feel like eating more. This is what happens when you reset your relationship with food. The constant hunger that drove my old eating patterns was gone. The psychological need to keep eating had been eliminated. The brisket did its job. It signaled, it satisfied, and it closed the door. I want to highlight the timing of this meal. I ate the brisket in the early evening before 7 p.m. This gave me at least 6 hours before I would start my next dry fast at midnight or later. Why does timing matter? Digestion takes time. If you eat too close to starting a fast, you enter the fast with food still in your system. This can cause discomfort, reflux, disrupted sleep. By eating early in the evening, I gave my body time to fully process the brisket. By the time my next fast began, my stomach was empty, my system was clean. The fast could start from a neutral baseline. This is the protocol. Eat once, eat early, eat simply, and let the door close cleanly. I had Chinese food earlier in the day as well. This was part of my refeeding transition. But the meal that mattered, the meal that would become my ongoing signaling protocol, was the brisket. I expected to gain back some weight. I wrote, expecting to gain 2 or 3 pounds back. I actually gained 6.4 pounds, more than I expected. But as I explained, this was water and glycogen, not fat. The next dry fast would strip that right back off. The important metric was the waist. I went from 41.5 to 42.5, only 1 inch returned. I was still down 3 inches from my starting point of 45.5. The visceral fat loss was preserved. Let me share what I wrote about the path forward. I feel wonderful right now, still a few hours away from officially starting my next 5-day dry fast, but I don't feel like eating. This sentence captures the essence of the fasting-focused lifestyle. I wasn't dreading the next fast. I wasn't bargaining for more food time. I was ready. The signaling meal had done its job, and now I was prepared to return to baseline. Fasting as the default, eating as the exception. The psychological transformation was as significant as the physical transformation. After 8 days of not eating, I had proven to myself that food doesn't control me, that I can go extended periods without consuming anything, that the constant hunger I thought was biological necessity was actually psychological habit. The quarter-pound of brisket wasn't a reward for suffering through a fast. It was a functional tool, the minimum effective dose of nutrition needed to preserve muscle and maintain the system. Food had become information, not entertainment. This is freedom. Day 9 summary. Date January 6, 2026. Signaling day. Day type Refeed signal day. Weight 209.2 pounds, up 6.4 pounds from fast end weight of 202.8. Waist 42.5 inches, up 1 inch from fast end. Energy level 9 out of 10. Mood 8 out of 10. Refeeding protocol executed. Midnight, baking soda water, alkalizing. Early morning, coconut water, gentle rehydration. Evening, quarter-pound lean brisket from Abbey's Texas BBQ. Key observations: stomach had shrunk, couldn't eat as much as before. Quarter-pound was completely satisfying. No desire to eat more after signaling meal. Ready to begin next 5-day dry fast. I feel wonderful. Net results after complete cycle: 8-day fast plus 1-day refeed. Net weight lost 10.8 pounds, 220.0 to 209.2. Net waist reduced 3 inches, 45.5 to 42.5. Fat loss preserved despite water glycogen regain. Psychological reset achieved. Day 9 was the proof of concept for everything I believe about this lifestyle. The fast worked. 17.2 pounds lost, 4 inches off the waist. The signaling worked. A quarter-pound of brisket was enough. Satisfying, complete. The transition worked. I ended the day ready to fast again, not craving more food. This isn't a diet. This isn't a temporary intervention. This is a sustainable way of living where fasting is the baseline and eating is a precise, minimal exception. The next day, January 7th, 2026, I would begin my first 5-day dry fast of the new cycle, and I would carry with me the knowledge that a single quarter-pound of brisket is all I need to maintain this system. Fast deeply, signal briefly, return cleanly. That's the protocol, and day 9 proved it works. Thank you for watching. Signaling day completed successfully. Refeeding protocol executed as planned. Quarter-pound brisket confirmed as optimal signaling meal. Ready to begin next fasting cycle. Complete journey summary. Days 1 to 9. Starting point. Dec 29, 2025. Weight 220.0 lbs. Waist 45.5 inches. End of fast. Jan 5, 2026. Weight 202.8 lbs, down 17.2. Waist 41.5 inches, down 4. After signaling day, Jan 6, 2026. Weight 209.2 lbs, net down 10.8. Waist 42.5 inches, net down 3. The journey continues. The brisket signaling protocol is established. The fasting focused lifestyle has begun. Next video, day 10, January 7th, 2026. The new cycle begins.